Hey guys, so I'm gonna be showing you guys how to mod 7 Days to Die, and we're just gonna be starting from the scratch. So we're gonna go to prerequisites. This is just the GitHub on how to do it that I made. It's prerequisites, and this is just some stuff you'll need. We're gonna download WinRAR or any really a zip file extraction tool. WinRAR 7-zip works. It doesn't matter. Yeah, but I do highly recommend for the text editor, we're gonna use Visual Studio Code. It makes life a million times easier, and I'll show you how to set it up. Just a few things on setting it up. We'll go through that right now. So once you install Visual Studio Code, you should get a page that looks similar to this. So this is Visual Studio Code, and then you should have this starting screen here. And to start making the mods, what we're going to do is make a folder. And I believe that's next on the list. So back to main menu, how to create the mods. So we're just going to take this step by step. Create a mod folder on your desktop called my mod. So new folder, my mod. All right, we've done step 1. And then inside that folder, we're going to create a file named modinfo.xml. Okay, so new text document, and then we're going to actually not make it a text file. We're going to call it modinfo.xml, like that. And you're going to hit yes, because we're changing the file extension type from .text to .xml. So yes. Now in here, we need to make the game able to read the mod information correctly. So what we're going to do is go back to here, and inside the mod info XML, we're going to have to copy this in. So we're just going to click copy, just like that. We're going to go back to it. I'm just going to minimize Discord. Paste. And you can do that, or you can Control C, Control V. So Control V. So this is the mod name. So we're going to say my mod name. We're going to call it my personal mod I made. Description of the mod. This mod, honestly, the community calls it modlet, but it doesn't matter. This mod changes trees to drop to have a chance to drop feathers, and eggs and honey. So you have to have the name, the description, the author, and the version in the mod info. So we're just going to save that, just like that. All right. So now we have a folder named my mod. And then what's the next step? We're going to make, and in that folder, we're going to make another folder called config. So config. And what this does is it mirrors how 7 Days to Die reads it. So if we open Steam, we right click and we go to manage, browse local files, and we open the folder that pops up. If we go to data, we have a folder called config, and this config folder is where all of the XMLs get read by the game. But we don't want to edit them directly, because if we do that and then the game updates, our changes will be lost, basically. And so the recommended way to do that is to make a mod for it so that it doesn't get lost. Now, the next step, we're going to start coding our mod. So now for VS Code, we have a config folder in our mod folder. We're going to open VS Code. We're going to click on that again. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drag this folder in here like this. You're going to hit trust and yes. Okay. And now we have a config folder that has nothing in it. I believe that's how we start. Or did we add? Yep. Add to workspace, trust, hit yes. Now, inside the workspace, we're going to click on, oh, sorry, my bad. I messed up. Oops. We're going to close that. We're actually going to do the whole mod folder. So this right here. So VS Code, we'll just reopen it, it's fine. Desktop, and then we'll just drag the whole folder in there, like that. So now we have a folder called MyMod with the config folder in it. So now, following the directions that I made, we're going to click on it, and then we're going to click Add File. So right here, Add File. We're going to call it blocks.xml. Now, it has to be exactly named blocks.xml, just like in Steam, just like the default files have it, right here, just like that. Now, I tell you here in the document, in the how-to here, we're going to name it configs. You don't have to, but I'm doing that for simplicity. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So now in this blocks.xml, oh, I forgot how to, sorry about that. Make sure we hit file and click autosave. So make sure that autosave is on. So any changes you make are automatically saved immediately. So we're going to create what's called a node configs. So this node is going to be the node that the first node the game reads. And then it's going to go in here and look for all of our code. So now we're going to go back to the how-to here. And then inside the blocks XML, inside the configs braces, inside that node, we're going to place this code here. So we'll just copy it, paste it. All right. So now we pasted it, and I'm going to explain it. So this looks confusing. I don't understand of it, and I get that. So I'm going to explain each line, what it does and how it works, so you're not confused. So the first line that we're going to look at, this right here, this is a comment. So a comment in programming languages is like a note for a human to read. So like we can type whatever we want here, and the computer will not actually read it when it goes to process this code. So comments can be whatever you want. Personally, I like to make comments that are just descriptions of what we're doing, right? So now that we know what a comment is, we're going to go to this line here. Just going to separate it out, this line right here. So now, within the configs node, we are doing an append node. And append, let's just think of append as, we'll just make another comment right here. Oops. Append, when it comes to programming, adds something to the end of a list of other things. Basically, that's a generic way to think about it. Now, so that's what append does, and we're just going to put that down there. We're just going to go through each little section of the whole line. So then what we'll do is we'll just take this and move it down like this so we can keep typing. So now, XPath is kind of like a function. And a function in programming is like a how did I describe it? I said it is a function. It's basically a command. It's a command to do a predetermined task, right? Predetermined task, right? The XPath function. So a function. Sorry about that. Let's do function is a command to do. Or sorry, a function is a set or a predetermined task, basically, to do. Now, append is a function, and the predetermined task of the append function is to add something to the end of a list of other things. Now, that might seem a little confusing, but let's just dive right into it. So, if we have XPath, so we'll say XPath is another function, and XPath is a the predetermined task of XPath is to go to a specific location. So in this case, we are in a node or location called configs, and we are in an append node, otherwise append location. So this node is called append. So it's still a node, but it's a node that is a function. Okay? So now XPath is to a specific location, and then each XPath, we'll call it format, is XPath equals double quotes location here, right? So XPath goes to a location. Within the quotes is where we define the location that we're going to, that we point at. I should say point to a specific location. So the location is within those specific quotation marks, right? So everything in here is a location. It's pointing to something. So now we're going to look at the double slash. This double slash. So we're looking at the blocks XML. And what this does is it's going to look at the default files of 7 days. So it's going to be looking at this one right here with all this stuff in it, all these blocks that the developers made. The double slash is the same as doing this blocks / block. And what that does, if we look, this blocks.xml has a node called blocks, right? So we're going within that node, and then there are separate specific single block nodes, or nodes called block in that node, right? And so we have all these different blocks, air blocks, dirt blocks, etc. Double slash is the same as going into the node of blocks and then looking for a specific block. That's what double slash does. Double slash goes into all of the nodes within the main node looking for a specific thing. Okay, so now we are going into the blocks node, which is the main node, that we see. If we close blocks, you won't see any other node. These are all comments. So the only real node in this file is blocks. And then these are all subnodes. All these blocks are subnodes. So we're going into the main node, which is blocks, and then we're looking for the subnode, which is each individual block. Double slash is the same as doing that. So now we're going to find a node called block, which is all of them. So we're looking for block, the specific node we are looking for. And then we have brackets. Now, these brackets, I want you to think of the brackets. So brackets, when it comes to XPath locations, brackets are basically saying where, right? Or they're kind of saying find this also. It's kind of like, so we are looking for a block node where the name is tree master. So if we open this, we do Control F, tree master. Here it is, we found it. So we have a block node where the name equals tree master. So it's the path we're pointing to is we're looking at all the nodes for a block where the name equals whatever we put in here. So if the name is in quotes, which it is here, the problem is that because we're already in quotes for the direction of the XPath, you have to do a single quotes for when you need to put quoted things in. So at name, at usually refers to an attribute. Now an attribute is, so like, here, I'll explain that here in a minute. So basically what we're doing here is the brackets determine where we're looking, right? So we're finding the blocks, and now what specific thing are we looking for in those blocks, right? So in this case, we are finding a block node, and the name is equal to tree master. So we found it, right? And then the next thing is the in quotes. So now we're going to append what we're going to append, right? And I'm actually going to go ahead and grab this and put it up here. So it might be a little less confusing. So now, remember, append adds something to the end of a list of other things. Okay? So we are appending these lines. And remember, each node will have its own ending of each node. So these braces with the backslash and then the node name is what's calling that we are ending that specific node with that. So now we are going to append everything after this and before this. So all of these we're appending. What does that mean? We are going to append these to the bottom list of the tree master block. So if we go look at the tree master block, we see that there is a drop event for harvesting honey already, but that's okay. So the tree master has all these subnodes. A lot of them are called property, and some of them are called drop. Some of them are a bunch of different things. So remember, we're adding this to the block, which means the bottom of the list, we're appending it. So it will go down here, right? So these three basically are getting put here. Oops, I don't know why the spacing messed up. So what our code here is doing is placing those three lines right here like this. And remember, the reason we do that instead of just doing it here is because if the game updates, our changes will be gone. So we're just going to take that out. I just want to show you what it's exactly doing. Now, again, we're going to go through each line. So I will, you know what? I will put that back under the append so you have something to look at. Then we're going to go down. And then now we're going to look at every line, every single section of this line. So now, drop is the node name. The node name. Now, this particular node name is also a function that is called in the game. They pre-wrote the function to look for nodes that are called drop, and then to look inside that to see what to do. So specifically, the drop node indicates to the game to read the attributes given in order to process it. So this is a node, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 attributes. So the game is going to read from the beginning. It's going to say, okay, it's a drop one. Let's go grab our drop function, and then let's read all of the attributes and see what we need to do. So what it's going to do, so drop is the node name, but it's also a function in the game that was coded by the devs. So the event is an attribute. And remember, an attribute of a node is basically a descriptor. It's just that. It's just an attribute. It's a descriptor or something to describe the node or something to specify something about the node, if that makes sense. So the event destroy specifically. So behind the scenes, the devs also coded to look for drop events, right? So the event in this case is destroy. So behind the scenes, they look for game looks for specific events. In this case, it is the destroy event. The game runs a function when the item, or sorry, when the block that has the destroy event is ran. So basically, if the event is destroy, so the tree, let's just say tree master. So if this block, let's say it's a tree, gets destroyed, then it's gonna do something, right? So what's it gonna do? It's gonna drop something. So on the event that the block gets destroyed, it will drop a specific thing. So that's gonna be defined here. So now the name equals food honey determines the item that is dropped. I should say thing. The thing that is dropped. In this case, it is an item, which is called food honey, which is just a honey jar. And then count, I'm just going to copy this, count 1, 5, determines the amount possible, min, max. So when it is destroyed, when the tree is destroyed, you could get between 1 and 5 honey jars. And then the next part, oops, there we go, is the probability. It's the chance. So determines the chance of this event, this drop event happening. And the 0.25 with 1 being 100% means there is a 25% chance for it to drop. Once you cut the tree down. Okay. So now we're going to go to the next ones. But because of what we just figured out, we're just going to take a look at them. So just because the event and the names and stuff are in different orders on this one, doesn't mean it works any differently. It doesn't. It might read it from left to right, but it reads all of it before it processes it, okay? So now, we're going to look at this. What is the only difference we have here is the tag. We have an attribute called tag, right? So everything else we can figure out. It's on the drop. It's going to drop something on the event of harvest. Harvest, specifically, harvest is a predetermined function or event the game knows as when you are harvesting something, i.e., chopping down the tree or hitting the tree with an axe. So, on the event that you are hitting the tree with an axe, there will be a 10% chance that you could get between 2 and 6 eggs that drop while you are hitting it. Now, this tag all tools harvest. This is a new attribute that we haven't talked about yet. So tags are just that. A tag is something to basically mark something as a reference to something else, right? So, behind the scenes in the game, the specific attribute called tag has all these predetermined ones that the game registers. So all tools harvest is a specific tag that the game registers as is a specific tag that the game uses when the player goes to harvest something with anything. That's why it's called all tools. So if you're using a chainsaw, whether you're using an axe, your hand even, doesn't matter what you're using, that's what the game does. It'll read this and say, oh, well, if he's using anything, then we'll do this stuff. There are other tags. There is like, I think there's metal tools harvest. There's other harvests. I don't remember the other ones, but that's okay. The point is that the game recognizes this tag and says, okay, whether they're hitting with an axe or a sheet or their hand or whatever, we'll then do this code. And so, using all the information we just learned, we now know that this line has a chance to drop feathers while we are harvesting it with anything, and it's a 10% chance between 4 and 12 feathers. So now that we know all that, I am actually going to move all of this out of here, and I will just put it below, and I'll put this back up here, because that's how I like it. I like my code like this. So this right here is the code, and then these are comments. And that's basically it. We have now created our first mod. So what we're going to do, and I think I explained all of those things. And I even said, if you have other questions, visit this website here. So I'm going to click on this. And this website explains a lot more about XPath and how it works. I think what I explained was kind of just a generic overview. But I hope that you guys really understood kind of where I was going with this. I explain in more detail in here. And I hope that nothing's confusing. So we're going to go to the next thing. So we created a mod. Now we're going to see how we can edit a mod, right? So what I'm going to do, just so you guys have a sort of kind of experience of like, if you had to start fresh, right? So my mod, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and package this up, right? And I'm going to upload it. Let me go upload this real fast. And so this is the experience you guys would have if you were to download a mod from like 7 Days to Die mods or Nexus mods or whatever. 7 Days to Die, public archive, and then we'll just grab this. Oops, not that. Just grab this and upload it just like that. So it is there. Where is it? There it is, my mod. Okay. So my mod, we'll go look at it, config blocks, and it has the code right there because we had autosave on in Visual Studio. So that mod is done. So now what you're going to do is, and I'm just going to get the link to that real fast. as an example. So git link, copy link. Okay. All right. So let's say you went to a website, blah 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 blah, and then they said here's the download link, right? And then you go to click on download and you download it, right? So we're gonna download it. We will just download it to this test folder here. Yep, that's fine. So we're gonna download it, this test folder. Now, you're gonna click this button. Some browsers may act differently, but click this button. Now it's gonna open that folder. Now, how do we get this mod that we just downloaded from the internet onto our game? That's what we're about to do. So, the next thing in the list. So we're going to be editing the mod before we do it. And then I'll show you guys how to install it. So I clicked the wrong one. I'm sorry. I have to edit mods. And I have that messed up. Oops. So, edit. So we're going to edit that same mod that we just did, but I downloaded it as an example. So we're just going to click extract here. So here's the folder. We're going to go config. We're going to open the blocks.xml. And what did I say? We're going to add it back to our workspace. So we're just going to go and open Visual Studio again. And then we're going to throw this mod, this random mod we just found on the internet, into our workspace, just like that. And remember, hit trust and hit yes. And remember that we do have autosave on, so whatever changes we make will be live. So, pretend that this is not the same mod that we just got, but we're going to be editing that just as an example. So, we are going to make, instead of a jar of honey, we'll make it drop a truck. A truck in the game. So, find the line that says this. So, we're going to copy that. We're going to go in here, we're going to hit Control F. We're going to type it right here. We're going to Control V. So this line right here, we're going to find that line. And then, now change the food honey to this. Change these to these. Okay. So I'm going to copy this here. So not food honey. Change it to vehicle 4x4 truck placeable. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. Yep, I looked in items XML to find that out. So if you're curious on how to find that, you'll go to items.xml right here. And then no, and then Control F. And then look for it right here. So I believe it's this one. Of course, I could be wrong, but I'm like 99% sure this is the item that you get that you can place the truck with. Yep. Okay. So we're going to change the 0.25 to 1, which means it'll have a 100% chance to drop. We're going to change this to 1, 1. So you'll get between 1 and 1. So you will only ever get 1. Okay? So now we've edited it. We can close VS now. We can. So this is the new edited my mod. Okay? So now we're going to get into the section where I show you guys how to install the mods. So if this is the important section, stay here and listen. So installing mods is very, very simple. What you're going to do is you're going to go to Steam. You're going to hit Manage, Browse Local Files. It's going to pull up. So this is your 7 Days to Die Steam directory. You're going to go, if you don't have a mods folder, which I do have one, but if you don't, you're going to make a mods folder by just right-clicking, clicking New, and hitting folder and calling it specifically capital M, lowercase ODS mods. Has to be called it. It has to be named just like that. Then you're going to go inside, and you are going to grab the mod you just grabbed. You're going to throw it in there, just like that. Now, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to turn off my mod by renaming the modinfo.xml. If the modinfo.xml is not exactly as it was, the game will not read your mod and it will not load your mod. So I'm turning off my personal mods right now, and we're going to load in this one. So that's it. We're done. We placed it in the mods folder in the 7 days to die directory. Now we can load up the game and go check it out. See if it worked. I already have a test world opened for this particular reason. If you do not, that's okay. I would recommend generating just a small test world, probably Nav's game. I think is probably one of the smallest worlds you can make. Would highly recommend that just for testing purposes before you go and put this on a server, before you go and host this with your friends. So continue game. And then what we'll do is we'll go harvest a tree and see if it worked. And remember, the process is the same when adding new mods from other sites or whatever. You just download it and you just put it in that mods folder. And as long as the creator made their modinfo.xml correctly, it should load just fine. Now, that doesn't mean their code will work correctly, but that means that it should load in just fine. So we're actually going to hit F1, and we're going to scroll up. And it's going to say something about, here we go, trying to load folder from my mod, my personal mod I made. So Robbie's vanilla mods does not contain a mod info and ignoring. So that's the one that I changed the info, modinfo.xml name to. I changed that so it wouldn't load. And then trying to load. Yeah, so it loaded the one we made, and it did not load the other one because of the modinfo.xml. Now, you're in a game. So this is just my little test world I've been using. So we're gonna go over to a tree. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on DM. I kind of fly over there real quick. And we will chop down this tree until we destroy it. So X, X. So while we're hitting it, there is a chance we should get eggs and honey. Let's see. Every now and then. It might not happen. Remember, it's only a 25% chance, I believe, or 10%. It's not very much. There's an egg. We got an egg, so that's good. That one worked. And we got a truck. So now we got a 4x4 truck. And we can get in. We're here. Now, I don't know if we can make that truck spawn with gas. Well, let's throw some gas in it, make sure it runs, which it should. And there we go. We now have created and installed and edited a mod. So if you get an XML mod from Nexus Mods or whatever, you can then edit it how you like it. And if you get any of my mods that I've uploaded, so let me show you real fast. So I have some mods that I've given or put out there. My 7 days that I modlets. And all of these links will take you to it, and it just tells you about it. And then when you click the modlet button here, it'll actually just pull up the download. And all of my mods personally that I have created, they all come with a README on how to edit the mod to your liking, right? So let's just download this Be Quiet one, for example. So you download it, you extract it, Be Quiet, and there's a README on all of them. I did this for a reason. So the README, how to edit the mod, open the config folder, open the sounds.xml, find the 0 values and changes desired. And then specifically for this mod, those numbers have to be whole numbers, no decimals. And then I tell you I recommend only 2 or 3. So let's just do that real fast. So open the config and open sounds. and then change the zeros to as desired. So yeah. And then you would just save it, and you remember, you would just throw this folder right here into your 7 days to die directory folder. So mods, be quiet, and you would just throw it in there like that. And that's it. That's how you install mods. That's how you edit them. I hope that the code part I explained very well. And that's really all there is to it. I would highly recommend going out there and downloading a bunch of mods. And I would also highly recommend going and looking specifically at that link I put in there. So add a mod. So the link I put in there is in creating. So it's down here. So this link here, this website link, highly recommended to go watch this. If you're really confused on the XPath, on the coding, on the XML stuff, completely get it. I understand it. It takes a long time to get, but I highly recommend going and looking through this and reading it, and kind of maybe watching some videos on other people doing it as well, downloading some mods and looking at how they do it. Highly recommended. And that's it. Thank you guys. Have a great one.